Hey, what's up guys? We're here for my week 11 matchup versus Ben, coach of the LA Gogoats. We have played him before in I believe week 3 or 4. Not really sure. We did beat him 1-0 though. It was a very close game. I had to make some plays. And one of them is tricking a Umbreon with first I tricked the Sylveon, took his, I believe it was a Pixie Plate, and then I tricked the Umbreon and took some leftovers. So yeah, it was a very close game. I wasn't really prepped for it, but this time I made sure I was very prepped for it. I have to bring Cofagrigus because of the fact that he has a Mega Medicham. If you guys do not remember his team is Mega Medicham, Sylveon, Goodra, Donphan, Blissey, Lando-T, Umbreon, Tangela, Shuckle, Rhydon, and Dusknoir. So right off the bat you see a ton of bulk mixed with a lot of power at the same time. Not a lot of speed, but it's still going to be very hard to break through a team such as his. Excuse me. And if you guys do notice, there are 2 changes due to his team. He traded Cobalion for Donphan because he didn't have any hazard removal. I think that was a very smart trade on his part, getting one of, at least a pretty decent rapid spinner. Donphan is very bulky. At the same time, it can be offensive too, so not a bad trade in my opinion. Also, he did drop, I believe, yeah, he dropped the Golurk for the Tangela, so provides him with a nice grass type, which, I mean, it's not necessary. I don't have a grass type, but I mean, why not? Tangela's got a regenerator, maybe he can throw some stuff on it too, so I don't have any problems with that transaction either. So yeah, that's his team. But yeah, looking at it, the really only, I mean, Mega Medicham is always a threat, but the fact that I have Cofagrigus on my roster really, at least it just beats Mega Medicham one-on-one, and I can switch into it freely almost because of the fact that if he touches me, I will give him my Mummy ability. Cofagrigus has recovery with either leftovers or pain split, even rest, but I'm not going to bring that. So I don't really think he's going to bring the Medicham. I know for a fact he's going to bring Sylveon because my only steel type now that Mega Scizor is gone after week 1. My only steel type is Steelix, and Steelix's the special defense is not the greatest. I believe if I was Assault Vest like max with special defense investment, I think I would still take around like 20-30%, so from Spec Sylveon. So I really don't want to bring that set because of the fact that it's kind of useless if it's Assault Vest, or no, I believe if I was non-Assault Vest, I was still doing like, or still taking me like 40% down. So really didn't want to bring that set because it's still almost a 2-hit KO after Stealth Rock. And yeah, I just didn't want to deal with it, so I had other ways of dealing with it. But other than that, Goodra could be a threat, maybe Banded Goodra. Maybe like Curse, Sleep Talk might be a problem. I'm not really worried about Donphan or Blissey. They're 2, well, generally passive mons, so I'm not really too worried about that. I have ways to deal with both of them. Lando-T is a bit of a concern because of the fact that I don't really have great ice coverage other than Mamoswine, and I didn't want to bring Mamoswine in this matchup. So with the team I do have right now, Lando could be a problem, but I have a couple things for it, so I'm not really worried about it. Umbreon, always just annoying. Tangela, not really expecting him to bring it. It could be very physically bulky to maybe combat my, my Pangoro or Machamp. He could potentially bring it, I guess. Shuckle is always a pain with Sticky Web, Stealth Rocks, and its little shenanigans. Rhydon, it could be like Rock Polish SD. It gets very good coverage, and then it's usually a Violite along with Tangela, so that could be a problem. And then Dusknoir is just pretty much a Ghost type that I don't think he's going to bring because my roster tears through Ghost type. So anyway, I will get right into the team building process for you guys. So right off the bat, you see our Cofagrigus or Yami holding a Rocky Helmet with the ability Mummy. So this pretty much, it just beats Medicham. I had to bring this because this thing just destroys Medicham. A Zen Headbutt, I believe, is not a 3-hit KO. It's a 4-hit KO after the Mummy, and I do have the potential to pain split up on him or Will-O-Wisp him, just slow him down even further, which is very nice. He'll be taking Rocky Helmet damage on contact, so he really doesn't want to stay in and take my Cofag one-on-one because he will lose that battle every single time. Other things this Cofagrigus potentially is very useful for is getting up Toxic Spikes, because of the fact that if I Toxic Spike the Umbreon, I can't get Synchronized because it's not a status versus status. I don't know how it works, but Toxic Spikes, if he gets poisoned, it doesn't carry over to me, which is really nice. Also, he only has 1 hazard removal, and it will get poisoned if it comes in on Toxic Spikes, so that's really nice for me. Will-O-Wisp is really nice for his Landorus because it can't get hit with Toxic Spikes, and it's very nice for the Meta-Champ if I want to burn it and slow it down a bit. I could also burn the Donphan if I do not have it poisoned. Also, I guess it would help a little bit with the Dusknoir because of the fact that they're usually a physical set, and then it's always useful versus a Rhydon because nobody's ever going to run a special Rhydon set. So yeah, that's pretty much my thinking behind that. Just status some things. I know he does have a very, I guess, abundant users of Heal Belt, such as the Blissey, the Sylveon, and the Umbreon, but I'm not really too worried about it because he's going to have to keep switching in on these spikes if I have his hazard removal dead. Also a very good spin blocker as well, this Cofagrigus. So with Rapid Spin being his only form of hazard removal, I had to bring a spin blocker. So that is the Cofagrigus set. It's pretty much just max HP to make it more bulky. 124 bold, like I said, to get that 4-hit KO on the Zen Headbutt. Pretty much allowing me to eat whatever I need to, and then the rest just thrown into Spit F just to, I guess, make it live longer. I didn't want this thing to be taking a significant amount of damage to something like Goodra's Draco, even though it will, but it's not a 2-hit KO, which is very nice, unless maybe it's Spec. I didn't calc Specs. Then I guess it's just the rest for Sylveon. I believe it's still a 2-hit KO no matter what, even if I was max special defense. So yeah, Spec Sylveon is definitely going to be a problem. I really need to look out for it. But yeah, that's the Cofagrigus set. This is my answer to Sylveon because it's probably the biggest threat versus my team. I know you guys are probably sick of seeing this Meloetta with an Assault Vest, and honestly, so am I. But this is the best thing that I had for it. Max HP with a calm nature and a little bit of investment while still being able to hit kind of hard on the special attacking side. I had to run the set again because the fact that it only does about, I believe, 20 to 30, maybe 35 at most with the Specs variant of Sylveon with the Hyper Voice. Yeah, that's just how annoying this thing is to my team. I have no other technically switch-ins, and this isn't even a switch-in to be honest. So he can't hit me with the Shadow Ball, which is nice because I am a normal type. And then his Psyshocks aren't going to be doing anything because it's resisted, so he's going to have to spam Hyper Voice. So this thing is my dedicated switch-in, I guess you could call it. It's also quite nice for a couple other things on his roster. Psyshock is a 2-hit KO on most things on his team if they're uninvested, such as the Sylveon, the Goodra, Blissey, and yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, Psyshock is much better than Psychic because most of those things that I just listed are very good specially defensive walls. And then my coverage moves such as Grass Knot, Oko, the Rhydon, and then it does a ton to the Donphan as well, so it's more than Energy Ball. I need a Grass Knot to guarantee that Oko for me. And then with any prior damage, it's a for sure thing because the only Rhydon set that I believe lives this Grass Knot is almost like a max special defensive variant, which I don't think he would be. Which is kind of nice, honestly. And then Signal Beam is just better than Dazzling Gleam because it hits the Tangela for a 2-hit KO if he wants to switch that thing in, and then it also hits the Umbreon super effectively, even though it's only going to be doing about 30%. But I wanted it to be able to hit both the Grass and the Dark type, so that's nice. And then U-Turn is just for initiative. I think he's going to switch out. It's very nice to get a little bit of an advantage with this thing, having that. Not really a slow U-turn, but a slower U-turn, because the fact that he could run, I guess, Lando T U-turn, but I don't think I would stay in on the U-turn because it would be doing a lot, and yeah, that's about it, honestly. So that is the Meloetta setup we were running today. I'm sorry for the, I guess the consistency that I'm using with this thing because I like to change things up, but I haven't really been able to. This is pretty much my dedicated, like, special defense wall if I don't have any other answers for anything, so that's kind of nice. This is the Pinsir set we are bringing. I needed Pinsir because of the fact that it gives me really nice priority. Also beats the Mega Meta-Champ one-on-one. Destroys Sylveon, destroys Goodra. It doesn't really do anything versus Donphan, so I gotta watch out for that. Destroys Blissey, doesn't really beat Lando one-on-one because they most likely will be either Scarf, maybe Rock Polish, and then it always has Stone Edge or Rock Polish, so I gotta watch out for that. I can beat the Umbreon if I get a free switch, or if he has to switch into me on an SD. Close combat will definitely destroy that thing, but I gotta really be careful because Foul Play is a thing, and Foul Play is actually doing like 50% with this thing, so Gotta watch out for that. Obviously, I beat Tangela one-on-one, even though it is a very physically defensive Pokemon. Shuckle, not too worried about that, honestly. And the yeah, Rhydon can be a bit of a problem, but yeah, close combat's nice for that as well. And then Dusknoir, not really a problem either. Hypercutter is really nice for the Lando-T because I won't get the Intimidate drop before Mega Evolution, so that's the reason we are running that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Pinsir set. It's just there if I need it, honestly. I'm not really thinking Pinsir's going to do too much this round, but hopefully it can come out. The investment is to outspeed the base 100 Pokemon on his team, like the Medicham. I believe that is his fastest Pokemon. Yeah, that's his fastest Pokemon. So the next fastest is Lando-T at 91. So we outspeed almost everything, or we do outspeed everything on his team, barring a Choice Scarf user. So next Pokemon on our team is Diancie, or Sparkle, with Clear Body. Another nice thing for Intimidate, even though I'm not running any attacking moves on the physical side. Air Balloon is actually really nice because of the fact that I know for a fact on some of the Pokemon that I have that he is going to go for an Earthquake with his Landorus or his Donphan. So I wanted to run Air Balloon just because it's something unique as well. And we're running a bit of an offensive Diancie set. I really wouldn't call it too offensive though, because it only has one attacking move and the rest are there just for support. But this thing is really nice, honestly. While it does provide the support, it does pack a bit of a punch at the same time. So and it also carries, I guess Toxic's very important in this match too. I don't really have too much for Calm Mind Sylveon, so I'm bringing Toxic, and I can potentially stall it out of Heal Bells, which is really nice. I do outspeed the base 60 Pokemon on his team, such as the Sylveon, such as the Donphan, the Blissey, Umbreon, Tangela, Shuckle, Rhydon, and Dusknoir. So pretty much the majority of his team with this thing, which makes it really nice just to be able to fire off those Heal Bells, those Rocks, even Toxic, and then the Moonblast as well. This thing is another dedicated check to the Umbreon, honestly, because the Umbreon doesn't really have too much for it. I think it might get Iron Tail, but nobody would ever run that. I believe Umbreon's attack is pretty bad if last time I checked. This thing also beats the Tangela, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure about a 2-hit KO, but I know it's going to be one, especially if it doesn't have a Eviolite. I don't know what set he would run if he does bring it. The Rhydon doesn't really take these Moonblasts too well because I am 172 Modest invested. Obviously Medicham dies. Goodra does not take 2 unless it's Assault Vest with a lot of investment. But yeah, so this thing's really nice. I don't think Donphan takes 2 unless it's a bit Spit F. So yeah, it's a very, very nice Pokemon to bring in this matchup. If anything, I will Toxic the Donphan, by the way, if it does proceed to come out. But yeah, it's really, really nice because of the fact that I have Air Balloon, so he has to break the Air Balloon before he can really touch me with anything. I did Air Balloon over Shuka just because of the fact that I didn't want to take any damage if I didn't have to, because Shuka only halves the damage, so I thought Air Balloon would be a bit nicer. And a bit of a surprise, honestly, because of the fact that maybe he's a Scarf Lando-T or a Banded Donphan and he's in Earthquake. I get a free switch into this, and I get to do pretty much whatever I want. I have the option to status something, I have the option to heal something on my team, and I have the option to set up rocks or attack him straight up with a stab. Nice hitting Moonblast. So I figured this would be a very, very good set for his team, and it provided it was. So next Pokemon we are bringing is Eon or Latios. Just a pretty standard set, honestly. It's just 3 attack Defog with Life Orb. I outspeed base 100s, and the rest is just thrown into HP. So and special attack, obviously. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Nice Levitate user. Surf hits a couple things on his team, like the Shuckle, the Rhydon, the Lando, the Donphan. So yeah, I thought Surf would be better than Energy Ball. Just because of the fact that it can hit Lando, I guess. I believe that's really quite the only reason. Psyshock is really nice for the Blissey, for the Goodra, the Sylveon, and things of that nature who are usually especially defensive bulky. And then Draco just gives me that hard-hitting stab that Oko's Medicham, Oko's Goodra, Oko's Donphan, but unless it will have Sturdy, so I gotta watch out for that. Oko's Lando, Oko's Tangela, and it should Oko Rhydon, maybe not, maybe Dust. I know it Oko's Dusknoir, at least I think it would. But yeah, Surf is what I'm going to be clicking on the Rhydon. So Defog is nice hazard removal as well. I needed hazard removal because I'm bringing Pinsir. Then next Pokemon, and the last Pokemon we are bringing is Designer, our Pangoro. And with this time I'm running Focus Sash. I believe this is the first time I'm running Focus Sash in the league, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I'm running the Iron Fist ability instead of Mold Breaker because it doesn't really do anything versus his team, and I'm running Sash like I just mentioned. So the idea with this, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's my dedicated league, because the fact that if he doesn't bring the Sylveon or the Shuckle, then I kind of have to change things up. But if he brings one or both of them, this is going to be my dedicated lead, because I do believe he's going to lead off with the Sylveon or the Shuckle if he does bring one or two of them. So I have coverage to hit all of them, and I beat all of them. So I outspeed the Sylveon, unless he is, I guess, invested a lot, because I will outspeed a little bit more than a little bit of an investment. So that's kind of nice, honestly. Taunt is very nice for the Shuckle, although he could have Mental Herb, and that could be a bit of a problem, I guess, but he'd only get one form of hazards up before I could taunt him again. Gunk Shot Okos the Sylveon, unless he is max bold, and then I always have a chance to poison. I outspeed him and knock him out with the next one while he hits me with the Hyper Voice and I live on 1 HP, so that's really nice. Knockoff is great just because of the fact that a lot of his Pokemon are very item dependent. Maybe if he Spec Sylveon, I can knock him off and make him only a very hard-hitting Sylveon without specs, so that could change the game. He has 2 Eviolite users, which could be beneficial. Yeah, and then anything else that's holding an item could be knocked off, so that's awesome. And then Drain Punch is just reliable recovery, honestly. It hits everything that Knockoff and Gunk Shot can't, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, that is the team we are bringing, and I will hop right into the battle for you guys. So here is the team he brings. He brings the Rhydon, the Tangela, the Goodra, the Umbreon, the Sylveon, and the Landorus-Therian. So I wouldn't say it's exactly what we thought he would bring. I did actually expect, what was I thinking? I thought the Rhydon, well, I mean not the Rhydon, the, what do you call it? I thought the Donphan would come for sure, because of the fact that it's his only form of hazard removal, but I guess he didn't think it was worth it. He already has 2 ground types, maybe that's what he was thinking. Really wasn't expecting Tangela, kind of expecting something like Shuckle or even maybe Dusknoir, who knows, to try to combat my Cofagrigus. I don't know, maybe even Blissey too. But he does bring in the team that we are seeing, and right off the bat I'm thinking, okay, we see no Shuckle, which is pretty nice, but I'm still going to leave with my Pangoro because of the fact that it beats both of his leads, and honestly, if he leads with anything else, I have a Focus Sash and I get to knock off whatever I want. So I just leave my Pangoro here, and as he just leads his Sylveon. So I'm just going to click Gunk Shot right away. I actually miss, which is pretty unfortunate, honestly, as he goes for the Hyper Voice and knocks me out of my Focus Sash. So he knows that seeing Gunk Shot, he's not going to stand again. So I just go for the knockoff here, knocking off anything that wants to switch in. And now that I knock off its Eviolite, it is in range of the Gunk Shot. At least I hit the second one and knock out his Tangela, which is really, really nice. So Designer picking up a kill here, and he does go out to this thing, but I do have a dedicated wall to this thing as well, as long as it's a special set, as he goes straight for the Iron Tail. So luckily I did not go out to my DNC. That was a crazy move there. Pretty good play, honestly, by his part. So I just go for the Psyshock here because it's a specially defensive Pokemon. Does a very good amount to the Sylveon. And he still doesn't know my set, so I get the Sylveon down to 11%, as I do believe it is Specs or Pixie Plate or something like that, because it's doing quite a bit. So I just go for the Psyshock here, and I do pack the Grass Knot. I go for that Oko, or not Oko, but kill the Rhydon, which is very, very nice too. And he just goes into this thing, which I think he's just going to U-turn on out. So I'm going into my Rocky Helmet Mummy variant of Cofagrigus because it doesn't really do too much, honestly, now that the Medichamp's not here. So it's just nice to get a little bit of a chip just in case I need it. So I'm thinking he's Scarf here, but we'll see later in the match he is not. Anyway, he goes into this thing going right back out to my Meloetta, just because of the fact that it's the only thing that can potentially eat a Hyper Voice. And I know he's just going to go into the Umbreon, but he actually decides to go into the Goodra. And I click Psyshock, just does 56%. I'm just going to keep spamming it because there's no reason not to. I have Umbreon checked, so if he wants to switch into it, that's fine, as he does so here. And I'm just going to switch out into my, I believe, yeah, Cofagrigus, because of the fact that Rocky Helmet, or Foul Play, is actually a contact move and will hurt him, and I will also give him Mummy, so instead of Synchronize. So he does go for the Foul Play, does pretty much nothing. Gets Mummy and takes Rocky Helmet damage, which is exactly what I want. I get up my T-Spikes in the time being, just because of the fact that it pressures his Goodra, his Sylveon, and this thing, as he just goes for the Toxic on me. I burn him because of the fact that I was actually predicting to switch, but I'll take a burn on this thing too. Residual damage is always nice, so What I'm trying to do here is get a free switch into my Pangoro. I can't let him toxic me or kill me. So what I'm going to do is whittle him down to about 50%, which will pretty much force him to go for the Moonlight. And on the, as he's just trying to toxic something else, so I just go for the Pain Split here, get a little bit of HP back. Probably should have done that before I went for the Hex, but oh well, I'm still exactly where I want to be. Go into the Pangoro here because I don't really lose too much for it on the Moonlight. As he does go for it, and he obviously can't stay in here because Drain Punch will do a ton of damage. So he goes into the Sylveon, I believe, just to sack it off, which is probably the best play to make because it doesn't really do too much with Toxic Spikes up and at 11%. So Designer picks up another kill, which is kind of nice. He goes into this thing, and this is where I find out that he is indeed, I believe, yeah, I go into this thing just pretty much sack it off, honestly. Get a little bit of chick damage if he goes for the U-turn, as he does, which is kind of nice. Forcing something to take some toxic damage, which is awesome, which is pretty cool too. So I'm just going to stay in here, I believe. Do I stay in here? Yeah, I stay in on the Draco, which is pretty cool because of the fact that he has minus -2 special attack now. Go to my Pinsir here because of the fact that this is the only thing that I'm guaranteed to outspeed with. And then I have the guaranteed Oko without taking Life Orb recoil. So go into this thing, knock him out with the Pinsir. GUI doesn't really matter too much, and I'm just going to stay in here. Or what do I do here? No, I sack off the Meloetta. Yeah. I sack off the Meloetta, and then I proceed to go into my DNC here with the Air Balloon because I do believe he is Choice Scarf, but he actually goes for the U-turn and shows me that he's not. So that's kind of interesting. I really didn't think that he would be not Choice Scarf, because of the fact that how he was playing it. So he blushed it really well, honestly. This thing is going to kill the Umbreon with 2 Moonblasts, which is cool. And for differential, once he goes into his Landorus here, the only play he can make to knock me out would be Earthquake. So what I do here on the Landorus switch in is just go for the, or I just switch into my Latios, yeah, and then as he clicks Earthquake, I'm going to finish him off with the Surf to win this game 4-0, which is really nice because it does put me on top of the league now that I have one more differential than Eric, who also won this week. So I am on top of the league. There is one more battle left, and it's versus him. I'm 3-0 versus him, but he's a very good battler, so I really need to prep well and be prepared to face the Reno Reggies again. We played him week 1, and then that's the week I hacked the absolute shit out of him, so I'm really sorry for that. And I'm hoping we have a better rematch. He's a very good battler, like I said. He knows exactly what he's doing, and so do I, so it's going to be a very good contest. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. GG to Ben and the LA Gogoats. I believe this loss for him makes it impossible for him to make playoffs. Maybe it was impossible before that, but he's definitely a good opponent. That Iron Tail Guja definitely easily could have gotten me, so gotta watch out for things like that, honestly. But yeah, very good battle, and I will see you guys next week. Take it.